Hey guys, what is up? Happy New Year. I cannot believe we made it to 2021, and let me tell you, I could genuinely not be more excited to leave 2020 behind. And I think that's a majority of people. Yes, 2020 was an awful year, but we need to remember that there were still some good times. I think everyone, for the most part, can count one or two good memories, and we should try and hold on to that. But we can leave that in the past for right now because it's 2021, guys. And as you can see by the title of this video, we are going to do a vision board today. So if you aren't already, please subscribe to my channel and join my family and hit that post notification bell so you will be notified every time I do post new content. And with that, let's just get on to the video. Last year, for the year 2020, was my first time doing a vision board, and I was actually inspired by Nikki DiMartino's video. I saw her at the very beginning of last year post a video about her making a vision board, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. I want to try it. So I made my boyfriend make one with me, and after looking at it, there are definitely some things I want to do different this year. One of those things being, a lot of the images I had on my board last year were things and not goals. They were things I wanted to buy, things I wanted to have, and not goals I wanted to achieve. So for this year, my vision board that I made, I definitely made it a point to put visuals of things that I wanted to achieve and milestones that I wanted to get to. A second thing that I noticed about my vision board from last year is a lot of the images that I had were super random and big and chunky and just kind of like filled the space but didn't really have a reason for being there. And then some of the images were really small and just like filler images. As you can see on the bottom of the board, there are two hairless cats. Now, yes, I have always wanted a hairless cat, but I don't think having two very large hairless cats on my vision board is really going to enrich my life in any type of way. It just didn't really make sense. What I'm getting at is that at the time, all of those things made sense, but it's 2021. It's a new year, and it's time to revamp my vision board, and I'm going to show you guys how to revamp your vision boards, or if you've never made a vision board, how to make your own vision board for 2021. Okay, so the first thing that you guys need to do is start finding images that reflect your goals, or just start making a goal sheet. If you have no idea what you want your images to be, just fill out a goal sheet. Now, for me personally, I actually started doing this way earlier than I had intended to, and a really good place to start if you have no idea what you want your images to be, go to your saved Instagram posts. What happened to me from about October to December of 2020 is that I had been like unconsciously saving Instagram photos just because I liked the aesthetic of it and it meant something to me, but I didn't really know why. And so going through my saved Instagram photos, I found so many images that I was like, oh my god, this fits perfectly for what I want my 2021 to be. So I would just go through your saved Instagram photos and then just screenshot them. And then what I did is I just made a new album on my iPhoto library and just titled it like Vision Board 2021 and saved all the images there. So you have all of those images organized in one place, and it's really easy to get to them for the next step. Next, I also went to Pinterest and Tumblr to get all of the extra images I need. I personally liked going to Pinterest for all of the quote images. They have the best like inspirational quotes, and they're really aesthetic as well. So I would definitely go over to Pinterest to look for those type of images. And one of my absolute biggest tips for anyone creating a vision board, because this is something I did not do last year, and I think it slowed down my motivation for my goals, is I really made it a point this year when picking out my images to not include people's faces or other people's lives when picking out my images. I tried very hard to take images of places, of quotes, and of personal goals. So what I mean by that is last year, I desperately wanted to be anybody but myself. So I had a lot of images of like influencers because I wanted so bad to be an influencer, but there was no clear incentive of how that was going to help me become who I wanted to be. It was really just making me feel worse about myself because I was just staring at a picture of a pretty girl who I was never going to actually be. So this time around, I made it a point that if I did take a picture of a person, I made sure that I couldn't see their face. So for example, I have a couple images of Nastia Lukin, but there are pictures of her in scenery. Like you can't see her face. And that for me symbolizes like getting out in nature and like being outside more, because I really want to get outside of my bubble and go outside more, because I spent so much time inside in 2020. So I really made it a point to not include other people's lives in my vision board this year, because it's just really going to negatively affect your personal growth. Point is, try your hardest to not take pictures of people and be like, I want to be them, because you're never going to be them. You want to be yourself. And I can fully and confidently say right now I'm very happy with who I am as a person, and I want to work very hard on enriching my life and growing myself as a person and not trying to be other people. So after I have all of my images, I transferred the folder from my phone onto my computer, and then I numbered each photo from 1 to however many you have. That way it's really easy to keep track of which photos that you use. The easiest method that I found in terms of printing the photos is using Microsoft PowerPoint. I arranged about 5 to 8 photos onto one PowerPoint slide, and it's important to remember the photos are going to print much bigger than you think. It's going to look a lot smaller on your computer, so I always size them down smaller when I'm arranging them on the slide, because it will help you a lot. But it also just depends on how big your canvas or your frame size is, and then from there you print them. The printer that I have is the Canon Pixma G6020. It is an incredible color printer. I use it for my small business, but honestly any color printer you have will work. And if you don't have access to a color printer, you can go to like Office Depot prints color printing, and I think FedEx and UPS also color prints, so you can go there. That's also an option. And after all of your photos are printed, it's time to cut them out. Now this is the most tedious part in my opinion, but honestly the more thorough you are cutting them out, the better your collage and your vision board will look. I definitely made it a point this year to cut all of the images out in squares. Last year, as you saw in my vision board, I cut them out in like individual shapes, and my vision board just looked kind of messy, especially because all of the images were a lot different size. Like I had some really big ones and some really small ones, and then they were all different shapes. This year, they're all squares and they're all relatively the same size. So after all of your photos are cut up, spread them out across your workspace. If you don't have a desk like I did, the floor or even like a kitchen table will work. This way it's just really easy to see which photos you have to pick and choose from when you are starting to design your collage. And at this point, it's really up to you to decide how you're going to design your vision board and what you want your collage to look like. This part probably took me the longest just because I had more photos than I thought I did, and as I was going through it, I started rearranging things and wanting different things to go different places, and it was just kind of like a trial and error, but I really did have so much fun with this. How I started, honestly, and something that I recommend, is choose your favorite photo or a photo that means the most to you and place it in the center, and then kind of design around that. Because when you look at a photo or a frame, your eyes automatically go to the center of the frame first, and so every time you look at your vision board, you're going to stare at the center of it first and then look around it. So whatever's in the center is going to kind of be like the focal point of your 2021, and that's going to kind of be a reminder of what your vision board is going to mean to you. And what I found best works for me is, instead of like taping and gluing as I went, I arranged them fully until I found the perfect vision board and the perfect image that I loved, and I took a photo of it, and then I took it apart and taped it down according to the photo that I took, because like I said, I kept rearranging it as I went. So if I had like taped it down as I was starting it out, I would have had to keep like ripping stuff up, and I probably would have ripped images, and it would have just taken me a lot longer. But again, it's your vision board, so whatever works for you. And there you guys have it. That is how to make a vision board, and that is how I made my vision board for 2021. This is what she looks like, and I could not be more happy with how she turned out. This process probably took me about 2 days, just from finding all the photos, printing them, cutting them out, rearranging them, taping them down, and just the final product. But I thought I would go through and just kind of explain a few of my favorites and what they mean and what I hope my 2021 will look like. So starting off, I definitely have a lot more quotes this year than I did last year. Some of my favorites are "Everyone has a story to tell." This one is like the focal point of my vision board, and this was kind of how I designed my vision board. Like I said, I chose one photo and went around it, and that was the one photo that I chose. This was a photo off Instagram that I found a couple weeks ago. I saved it in my Instagram saved photos, and it just spoke to me. It's like a neon sign, and I think it's so important to remember that every single person you meet has a story that you know nothing about, and a lot of times the success that people build off of comes from their story. So I really want to use my story and the things that I've experienced in my life, trauma or not trauma, to really like pursue my dreams and goals this year and just to push myself further. There's also know your worth and then add tax. A lot of times I'm definitely a sucker for cutting myself short and thinking that I'm not worth as much as I am. So I really liked that. Know your worth and then add tax, because you're worth a lot more than you think you are. I'm too busy working on my own grass to notice if yours is greener. That is just everything, because I am definitely one to compare myself to other people, but I really want to focus 2021 on not comparing myself to other people and on just focusing on myself, because that's really important. There's definitely a lot of couple photos on here, and most of them are different scenery. So one of them is like on an apartment balcony. One of them is in like Bora Bora or something. One of them is in a snowy bungalow. Another one is like outside in the snow. Another one is in the mountains. Another one is like in a cozy apartment. Basically what I'm getting at is me and John just haven't really gotten a chance to travel very much. So I'm really hoping this year at some point, if all is safe, we will get the chance to travel a little bit more and just get to spend more time together. I have a couple photos of different girls in different places. Like I said, I have two of Nastia Lukin. I believe they're both in Wyoming, but again, you can't see their faces. It's more of just the scenery. I used to love to model, so I want to get back into modeling. I have one of Kennedy Walsh. She is again outside. Can't really see her face. There's one of Ayla. She's in a tropical area. This one is again for modeling, traveling, and getting outside. There's a theme to this vision board if you can't tell. There's a couple apartment things on here. As you probably know, me and my boyfriend are doing long distance right now because of COVID. So I'm hoping that this year we will be able to move back in together and get our own apartment. So there are a couple alludes to that on this vision board. And then to the couple random ones, there is an office because I want to grow my small business. There is a love yourself because I've always struggled with self-love and I just want to become more confident with that. There is this t-shirt that I actually do want to buy this t-shirt, but I just love it and it just makes me smile every time I see it. But it says good sex, no stress, one boo, no ex, small circle, big check. And this quote is actually very close to my personal life. I won't go like too much into it, but all of those things are basically very true to me, except for the big checks. Don't got lots of money, but that's okay. We're still happy and thriving. There is a YouTube thing on here because I really want to grow my channel. And last but certainly not least, there is a photo of me and John. This was for my birthday this year, and there is a picture of the engagement ring that I want, because hopefully this year I will be a soon-to-be Mrs. Helmy, but who knows. So that, my friends, is my vision board for 2021, and I do want to see everyone else's vision boards for 2021. If you guys did enjoy this video, please comment down below and let me know one thing that you guys are looking forward to in 2021, or what one of your goals is for 2021. Also, head over to my Instagram and follow me over there and tag me in your photos for your vision boards, because I really want to see what you want your 2021 to look like. And with that being said, guys, I will see you next time for an all new video. Bye.